Research throws up information on a daily basis, and it's in our best healthy interest to keep abreast. We have found that startups fail. 90% of them fail in the first 5 years. Some 21% of startups fail in the first year. 30% of startups fail in the second year. And 50% of startups fail within the first 5 years. As we often do, we take off with an overview. Today, another aspect of moribund industries in Nigeria. Francis Ogbe and Alex Omanchi.
No economy can thrive without industrialization. Today, with macro and microeconomic policies, the need has always been on how best to grow industrially. Remember, Nigeria is the world's 20th largest economy, worth more than $500 billion. It overtook South Africa to become Africa's largest economy in 2014. However, the story is different today, as the country is littered with so many moribund companies and facilities. Once upon a time, the headquarters of the Dunlop Nigeria PLC in Ikeja, Lagos, was a beehive of business activities. It stirred the hope of hundreds of young men and women, as it played a leadership role in the emerging tire market. Its unconcealable rising star dimmed abruptly in late 1990s, a time the industrial sector experienced a major setback, leaving behind tons of hopelessness. The Kaduna Mills Limited is another example of a company that has passed through various phases of growth. Until the 1980s, it was one of the most vibrant in the world. However, the sector started to witness some decline in its fortunes at the turn of the millennium, with the closure of some major factories, while some others relocated to other countries within the sub-region. As at the dawn of the millennium, only about 25 textile companies were functional in the country, with widespread concerns that even those functioning were barely managing to survive, as the operating environment is considered unfriendly. Government is not unaware of this situation, as it is determined to significantly boost the contribution of the non-oil sector to Nigeria's gross domestic product. Weekend Deal today is captioned, Reflections on Our Moribund Industries.
Continue to reflect. Thank you, Francis Ogbe and Alex Omanchi. They worked assiduously on that package. You're watching Weekend Deal. We want to hear from you. What's happening with you? What are your thoughts at this time? Communicate with us. Our number will be on the screen intermittently, and we look forward to hearing from you. We'll go to Abeokuta now. But remember, there's a saying that says that when you build a better mousetrap, the world will build a path to your door. Abeokuta, tell us what's happening there with moribund industries.
The list of moribund industries in Ogun State cannot be easily determined. However, these industries can be categorized majorly into two. Some are privately owned, while others are owned and managed by government at various levels. Notable among these industries are Top Breweries, Abeokuta, National Paper Manufacturing Company, Iwopin, Nigeria Telecommunication Company, NITEL, Gateway Portland Cement Company, and Harco Foam Limited.
Textile industries at Ota, breweries in Songo there. Then the hot drink industry. Then when you go to Agbara, there are so many of them, but you go back there now, there are no more.
I still remember companies like S&K Asbestos, Sona Dairies, like National Salt Company in Jokota, Adeboale Industries, all in Otadia. We have a lot of industries here in Onejongo here, in Abeokuta here, that has folded up.
You have this Coke and Steel, Frederick Coke and Steel, moribund now. Sunrise Bottling Company was there. Another company making feed was also in that as is feed, poultry feed. Is it livestock? Poultry feed was there. Another company making speakers also died in that axis.
Although these industries are in the shadow of their old self, some of the people recount their experiences. According to them, the good old days of these industries and their positive impact on lives as well as the economy of Ogun State people cannot be forgotten in a hurry.
They were producing good products, quality products. Is it Ankara? Very good one, which you can compare with the wax from the UK. Sugar, even drinks, as some go there.
Momo Steamer was also the flagship of architectural products, where it has two ports. The upper has a perforation, and the lower one where you put your water and you place your cup, Momo cups, on the upper one and you cover. So it doesn't have contact with the water.
Meanwhile, it won't be out of place to state that these industries became moribund as a result of any or all of the following factors.
The companies, they have to fold up. In fact, some of them, like the big ones, most of them relocated to Ghana. And what's the reason? What's the cause? Electricity. Our electricity is not stable.
I have also stopped manufacturing. You ask me why. The main problem we had was electricity. What plastic manufacturing enjoys most is continuous operation. But if you hit your machine for 4 hours and then you start production after 2 hours or 1 hour, electricity went off. You need another 1 hour to heat up again. And in the process, by the time you want to start commence production again, you first of all produce a lot of scraps and waste. And this are also telling on the profit.
In those days, bigger have access to fund. They even place deposits. But by the time you have customers deposit with you, you don't know what to do with it. You have to go and put it somewhere. So it can also yield some interest.
It is important to note that if all these industries are revived, Ogun State will become the economic hub of Nigeria next to Lagos.
Thank you, NTA Abeokuta, for that package. As you know, the way we do it on Weekend Deal, we touch down in different parts of Nigeria to get your feedback on what happened there in the past, in this case, and sometimes what is happening there at this time. We're talking about Nigeria, looking at yesteryears. We're going down memory lane to things that were and no longer are. For example, we can talk about Michelin, we can talk about Dunlop, okay? And we want to talk with somebody who knows what happened in the past, talking about companies, businesses, and that's how we welcome Senator Gyunka Philip Arua. In the 8th Assembly, he was a member of the Senate. It's great to have your company on Weekend Deal.
It's a pleasure having you too.
Nigeria, yesteryears. Many companies that were in Nigeria like 20, 30 years ago are no longer here. Some would like to talk about Dunlop, Michelin, Abata, Tate and Lyle, and many others. What was it like way back when these companies were present in Nigeria and functioning?
Well, thank you for having me this time around, and at the same time talking about we're reviewing the past of our nation, more especially on industrial issue. Michelin, we have Michelin, we have the textile, we have the Peugeot company, Volkswagen, and all the likes. Our major problem, when in the past, we do have stability on power supply. Number one problem, then we're facing today in this country that has bedeviled us and keep people away from us is the power supply. We have power supply inadequacy in this country. The time past, we can see that we've invested a lot of money on the power supply, but with little or no significant impact to the society. And like I've said, the power supply, the cost of producing material with generator now, you know how much it will.
But when those companies were in Nigeria, what was it like?
Yeah.
Were Nigerians purchasing? Were they adding value? Did they make Nigerians happy? Were we excited to have them? If we liked having them here, why do you think we allowed them go?
Well, we were happy having them because while they were here, we have a lot of employment opportunities among them, and we have about also the issue of skill acquisition. We learn much from them at that period of time, and we allow this thing to skip up us because at times we have the issue I called inconsistency in our policy. Inconsistency of our policy has contributed to these kind of issues. Today, when the government comes, they come with a different policy, and tomorrow they come, and the other one will come with another policy. There is no stability of policy issues as at that period. If you look at Liverpool today, the speed and the grade and their development is something you need to write home about, bring into bear when you are coming to compare with Nigeria. Nigeria got their independence in 1960, and then Liverpool got their independence in 1965. The oil boom came in. Everybody, diverted their attention, going to oil boom, going to the oil sector, and allowing the mainstream, which is agriculture. You're allowing the mainstream to go down drain. And that has cost a lot.
Agriculture is being revived now. But let's go back to these industries that are expiring or have expired in Nigeria. It has become obvious that some of them didn't even leave the African continent. They went to other African countries. Now, let's profess solutions. First, tell us what we lost by the exit of those companies and what we can do to avoid such things in the future. And when they went to other African countries, what did we do?
They have a level playing ground there. There are things being secured. There are companies being secured because of the policy they had, and there is fundings that could help them. We live in obsolete technology. The technology we're having today, most of it is not being practiced in other developed society. They bring in the technology that will enhance and then boost their own economics. But our own self here, because Nigeria have become just like a dumping ground for other countries when they feel things are not doing well. And we don't have the policy, again, the government themselves, they have diverted most of the attention because there is no discipline. Greed has come into every system that we are doing.
But you were at the helm of affairs,
sure,
representing Nasarawa North,
yes,
at the Senate in the 8th Assembly.
Sure.
What did you use your office to achieve? You and others of your ilk who are there in the Senate. What difference were you able to make in the 8th Assembly?
Yes, our own is to make the law. We make the policies. We talk about the stability of our security issues, number one. Number two, we talk about the incentives. we talk about the interest incentives too as well, because you give interest to incentives to the investors when they know that yes, okay, these things they are doing, they have the value of it added onto them, and this is what will attract them, because it will attract the investors into the country. At the same time, you look at fundings. You look at our banks today. Our banks today doesn't want to invest in industries. They prefer to invest in stock exchange. That is because they look at the industry as maybe they have a high risk in investing in industries. So they prefer a cheaper way. So policy has to come in here so that at least the bank should know that this is their primary assignment. We want development. The banks need to know of that one as well, so that they will now go ahead and then implement issues that will encourage the investors to come in. Number two, if you look at, we're lacking of the infrastructures here, the roads. For instance, I was just talking with a trader yesterday. He said, in the time past, to transport a container from Lagos to this place is just 40,000 naira, but today it's 400,000 naira. Who bears the consequence?
It reflects on the cost of the goods and
goods.
services. But let's talk about, earlier you said Nigeria has become a dumping ground.
Sure.
So some can relate that to say we've become a nation that consumes. We make little, we consume. And it so happens that many Nigerians are very sophisticated. We like foreign items. What does that portend for us in the long run?
Because the government are not firm in the policies they make. Like now, we are good in making policies, but we're not good in implementing the policies. Take for instance, now we have Standard Organization of Nigeria, and these are the people that are supposed to check the standard of goods that are coming to this country. I can give you an example. When I wanted to bring in some consignment from China, and I discovered that they were going to make it substandard. I said, no, I'm taking this thing through Europe, because Europe have a high standard of the goods that goes through them. So when I told them that I was taking it through Europe, the cost changed. But because if they know that, okay, this one is just coming directly, because they know that, yes, they can have their own way. And then when
no one will prevent them from doing what they want to do.
No one will prevent them. We are not doing that. If you can mark me, I am putting myself as well, because I am part of the leaders. We are not doing, but everybody has his own level. We are not doing what we ought to do. And that is why we're having all these problems and challenges.
What would you prefer? We want to go forward. We want to make Nigeria a more comfortable place for our children to live and enjoy, not just endure. What ought we to do at this point?
We have to, number one, see how we can work on our power supply. See those, personally, even I, if I'm included, if I'm found wanting, I wouldn't mind. Let me face the wrath of the law. Until when we can take punitive measures on people like that. Now, the railway, because there are people that are frustrating the transportation of this country. And these are the big shots we have. And we call them by names. We give them a high level of respect. But in the actual form, they're exploiting this nation. As an accountant, you know that at least whatever comes in, there is a record for it. And if it's lost in anywhere, you have a way of tracing the difference. So now, why didn't it work? They have the solution. My final word is that I pray that the government, we as the government as well, because I'm part of the stakeholders, even though I'm not in power now, but at least as the stakeholders, we should rally around and see how we can improve our infrastructures. We can see how we can improve our power supply. We can see how we can bring good policies that are consistent. Not that when this government comes, we change the policy and the other one come and change their policy. So that at least the investors will have confidence in the country.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's been great listening to you. One would like to say that Senator Gilkan was part of those who made some of these policies, and why is he now complaining about the things that happened? But when they listen in depth, we'll take a message or two away, and we hope Nigerians are listening. Let's do it right, and we can do it right together. Thank you for coming on Weekend Deal. You're watching Weekend Deal. We'll take a break. The program will continue in a moment. Don't go away. You're watching Weekend Deal. Earlier, we had a chat with Senator Gyunka Philip Arua, a senator in the 8th Assembly. He's a politician and a farmer, and we heard his views. We'd like you to interact with us. We took a lot of your messages yesterday. Please continue to send them in today. We'd like to share your thoughts with our viewers. You're watching Weekend Deal. We'll go to Kaduna now. We know a lot is happening there, so much progress. But what happened to the industries that are now moribund? Why? When? Where?
Almost 20 years ago, a visit to the Kakori industrial layout, Kaduna South, especially during lunch break, would reveal a major commercial center with a beehive of workers numbering tens of thousands. Textile companies like Kaduna Textile, Ira Textile, Fintex, Supertex, United Nigerian Textiles, and a host of others, numbering 13 in total.
The North produce cotton in massively. He viewed it that instead of exporting this cotton to Manchester for production and return the cloth to Nigeria to buy, the best is to add value. Is to spin the cotton, weave the cotton, and print the cloth for Nigeria. And that means so many benefits. It solved the problem of unemployment. It is equally a source of revenue for the government.
Today, sadly, the Kakuri industrial layout is a shadow of itself, as most of the industries which once made the industrial layout an ever-bubbling one have become moribund.
Today, as we have it, you name all those infrastructural decay, starting from the issue of electricity. And what we produce, we were sending to all those neighboring countries, Niger, Chad, Benin Republic. We send those cloths to those places. But before we know, smuggling became the order of the day. And because of the advantage they see in Nigeria with the population, ever-growing population, which is a potential ordinarily in a working, productive economy. But revise became the case. So Nigeria became a dumping ground. There are several policies, and some of them, on paper, are very good ones.
The United Nigerian Textiles Industries, established in 1964, was once one of the largest in West Africa. It was closed down in 2007 and later reopened in 2010.
Today, as we have it, you name all those infrastructural decay, starting from the issue of electricity. By that time, I know, even that is an old government, light are available, electricity is available for the industry, and equally for the community. That there are many advantages we derive from the neighboring country who doesn't have the capacity to produce. And what we produce, we were sending to all those neighboring countries, Niger, Chad, Benin Republic. We send those cloths to those places. But before we know, smuggling became the order of the day.
All hope is not lost, as government, through its policies, is committed to reviving moribund companies. The hope, therefore, is for positive results to be yielded soon. Peugeot Automobiles Limited (PAN), as at 1981, had an installed capacity of about 240 cars daily in 2 shifts. Today, The capacity utilization is about 10%. Used car imports remain the single most significant barrier to any expansion, since these are priced at only about 35% of new pan cars.
Thank you, NTA Kaduna, for giving us reflections from there. It is good to build new things. Excited because we have vibrance, we have energy, we have ingenuity. But we need to learn from past experiences to build successfully. And what's the point building something that may not stand the test of time? Let's go to the heartbeat of the nation, Edo State, and see what's happening over there. Tell us about moribund industries. Are there any? Why did they leave?
Industries not only create jobs, but also widen government's tax base. In time past,
Many thanks, NTA Benin. It's always good to reflect. It's always good to tell ourselves the truth. It's time for honest introspection. What did we do right? How can we do it better? How can we get startups to work? If companies were exiting or some were folding up, it's either action or inaction of people that caused it to happen. And startups come up every year. We've come to learn that 21% of startups die in the first year, fail. 35% fail in the second year and 50% fail within the first 5 years. Moribund industries, startups. We need to learn from our past experiences. Let's talk with somebody who can tell us more. Ekerete Olagam Ikan is the CEO of FinTrade Projects, and he's here today, a patriot who has lived in Nigeria and he knows what we're talking about. Let's go down memory lane. First off, welcome to Weekend Deal.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
What was growing up in Nigeria like?
Oh, growing up in Nigeria was exciting because after we came out of the war, we had to rebuild. And so rebuilding meant that we had different people seeing Nigeria as an opportunity for business and all of that. So manufacturers were here, and I could recall from cradle, you could get all sorts of things you wanted, you know, up to growing old. And so I recall those days that we had shoes from Bata, shoes from Lennart's. The competition was rich. I mean, tires were produced here, and you know, you could just see how life was rolling from one point to the other. And indeed, they brought to us life that's, I mean, that could expect, you could expect that you know what you will get from the farm to the factory and all of that. So we lived a green life. That's what I would call it. We lived a green life. You know, it wasn't so harsh, you know. And then as a schoolboy, you could hope that your older one will hand over that nice shoe to you. Sometimes you found girls wearing boys' shoes and nobody cared. Yeah. You know, that's how good it was.
Because they were good.
Yeah, of course, they were good.
It was handover now for many homes then. When your brother wears it, the girl will wear it too.
Oh,
Put
yes.
your socks inside,
oh,
match
yes.
to school.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You know, and you could just see wonderful books that came out, of quality books that came out. So the difference is that we had quality life and we lived it well, you know. And so nobody wants to easily forget that, because when you look at it now, you cannot but just remember. So we live with the memories of yesterday for today. And it's good.
Will we come to talk about what do businesses really want vis-a-vis what businesses really need to thrive? Because we are all in Nigeria and Nigeria must progress. But in the meantime, let's take some messages. Okay, perhaps we can prefer answers and solutions.
Oh, yes.
This is Danza Rami from Zaria. He says he would like to know a bit more about where Nigeria got it wrong. No one says it's wrong totally, right? Mm-hmm. We're still here.
Yeah.
We can still make it happen. Another person says the fall of Nigerian industries was as a result of government policies that were not sustainable, that they were built British style. And that if we had done what South Africa did, we will not be telling this story today. He also says the problem of power.
Yeah.
Yes, electricity power, okay? So there's greed, which gave birth to corruption. Further, more inconsistency in policies, dissatisfied communities, not appreciating, understanding, or being carried along with new projects, and a general lack of continuity. Wow.
Can I tell you what is going on?
Yes, what is going on?
The issue is, I'll ask, where is our national development plan?
Someone is talking here about structural adjustment.
When was the? I mean, that again was a temporary measure. You remember, which we now try to move forward with. The issue is, you know, our national development plan, which a few months back I heard we are trying to draw up a 10-year national development plan. Fantastic, but where is it? Where are we on that? You see, we have spent a lot of time on the political issues and, you know, given little time to the economic issue. Government cannot do business. Government can only create an environment for business to happen.
Is it
one
can
of the environments,
or ought not to?
No, I say cannot, because, look, the structure for government to do business, the mentality of government doing business is entirely different. Government is about revenue and expenditure. No, business is not run that way. All right? So when you have a national development plan rather, you know, every industry kind of ties into it. They see the future in it. They see their plans also ties into your own plan.
But there is a plan.
What we have has been a medium-term plan, and we are now trying to draw, like I said, we are trying to draw a strategic plan for multi-years, 30 years from now, which is fantastic. But I'm saying, where is it? When I say where is it, how many people know that that is going on? What kind of communication are we putting in place
More enlightenment
for people to know and be able to say, against what others may say that we don't know where we are going, to say, hey, this is where we are going. This is the plan.
Okay.
For 5 years, this is where we are going. For 10 years, this is where we are going. A lot of that needs to happen because there are some people that are not political.
But hold that thought there.
Yes.
The plan on its own is good, but there were measures that were taken or not taken that caused companies to either fold up, both local and foreign, or caused them to exit Nigeria. Some of our guests have propounded several theories. They say multiple taxation, high interest rates, lack of accessibility to loans, multiple tolls, corruption, no tax holiday, no tax holidays for big companies and corporations. So is it not proper for us to establish what limitations companies that are folded up faced so that going forward we can profess solutions to those that are coming up so that they can be sustained?
Let me tell you, government profess solutions to issues practically every day and every time. Now, the fundamental issue for me is how do people connect with what you have proffered as a solution? You know, government will announce a particular policy direction, you know, and then how does it get down from that announcement to the people who should know, getting to know and acting in line with what you have announced?
Perhaps NOA.
You know, absolutely. You know, and so you've got those challenges. In my own view, I would say 70% of our challenge is communication. Because where do you put it? Where do you put it? I mean, people are asking questions and then by the time they get answers, it's gone. I mean, that's where you talk about corruption. That's where you talk about the institutions that should be running, that are not running, the regulators that are not doing what they should be doing, sanctioning people that are going out of line and things like that.
But do you think that multiple taxation is a big problem?
No.
Is it a problem?
It's I would say it used to be a problem.
Okay, good. Please hold that thought. Please hold that. It used to be.
Yes.
Good thing, good thing. We're going to Lagos now. There are warehouses, and then again, there are converted warehouses. Do we have warehouses? Are they being converted? To what, I may ask? Well, Lagos did some research. They are going to authenticate that for us on Weekend Deal today. Let's see this.
Lagos is the commercial nerve center in Nigeria, accounting for over 60% of economic activities in the country. The state is a major hub for the headquarters of national and global companies, coupled with a large concentration of several industries, both medium and large scale, which ranges from textile, food and beverage, cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, just to mention a few. However, some of these industries have collapsed due to a lot of economic pressure. With the unfortunate harsh climate for industrial boom, some of the factory sites and warehouses have been acquired by event centers, shopping malls, and worship centers. This, in turn, has its implications on national development.
You cannot blame the worship centers. They have what they want. They have money, and the owner of the industry want the money, and they want the warehouse. So it is trade by barter. Nobody forced anybody.
Well, the likely implication is that our manufacturing sector will continue to go down. Manufacturing sector contribution to GDP today is less than 10%. That is the reality. So if we are running an economy where the manufacturing sector is not competitive, it's not thriving, where the mortality rate of manufacturing investment is very high, then of course you have it compounds the problem of unemployment.
No doubt, the conversion of these industries for other purposes have worsened the country's growing unemployment rate and may be responsible for sluggish economic growth. But how can we correct the menace?
Government should please pay attention to industries, especially those that are locally manufacturing products using our local raw material. At least 80% is local raw material. Using it, they should give them attention. They should give them grants. They should give them, incentive, because even abroad there are some products that are owned by Americans and they keep injecting money in them to make sure that those companies does not fail.
One cannot deny the fact that industrialization is a strategic enabler of economic growth, innovation, employment opportunities, and financial stability. Therefore, conscious efforts must be made by the government to revitalize some of these viable industries, as this is one way to stabilize our economy, grow our local markets, and retain our position on the global map.
Thank you, Lagos. We need to learn. If mistakes were made, going forward, the wise thing to do would be not to repeat the same mistakes that we made. Now, Lagos has brought up something, talking about incentives. Are they referring to tax holidays? When we say incentives, are industries not being given incentives? Warehouses being turned to religious institutions? No manufacturing being done? Is it because of a lack of incentives?
The issue of incentives, it's a whole bucket of different things that happened. I mean, tax, like we spoke about, is basically giving relief, to people to be able to do things, and then encouraging people on the other hand to come in and do certain things. Let's take example of the warehouses that we're talking about. So if the warehouses are meant to take manufactured goods, and goods are not being manufactured, and the guy has seen someone who has offered to use the warehouse, to pay for the warehouse, and he doesn't see any hope in the next 3, 4, 5 years of using that warehouse because of the government policy, he may be right to go in that direction. But it's also to say that that arrangement will be temporary. If he needs to use that warehouse tomorrow, he will give notice and say, hey guys, I need to use my warehouse. All right? So
but sometimes they are sold outright.
Yeah,
that's how big churches have established.
Yeah, sometimes they are sold outright, but not in several cases. Sometimes you give a long lease.
Now we've been able to enumerate several challenges that are competing and putting heavy pressure on businesses. That perhaps this information was not so obvious in the past, such that big industries have exited Nigeria. But many may yet still come. And the many Nigerians too, who are industrious and who are ready to do everything it takes to progress Nigeria. And they want to do it the right way. And there's only one right way. Now, what can help them to succeed? Because Nigerians want what is good. Also, people are saying Nigeria is a consumer nation. We should try to grow things here. Let's build, let's use our hands, use our ingenuity, think outside the box. And many people like you, I'm sure, want to do that.
Yes, absolutely.
How can an enabling environment be created?
Let me tell you practical steps that we can take. All right. Now, when was the last time you heard that the president had a meeting with business leaders in Nigeria? Strictly business leaders in Nigeria. When was the last time you heard that a governor had meetings with business leaders in Nigeria, putting them together and saying, this is what I want to do, come and join hands with me and let's do it? You hear governments trying to establish rice mill, trying to establish different industries, and I'm saying that it's not the way to go. There are people who know how to do this business. Invite them, create the environment for them to do it. So that's why I'm saying that a lot of politics are taking over us. So you even go for public events, and as you are a business mogul sitting down there, sometimes a local government councillor has been introduced and you have not been mentioned. That's what we have today. So we are not paying attention to businesses, and then we are talking about business coming back.
Okay.
So those are simple things that we need. That's how the journey needs to start.
When we come back, you will tell us how we can pay attention. Because when businesses succeed, Nigeria succeeds, especially local businesses, homegrown solutions. But first, let's go to Makode. What's happening there? Are there moribund industries in Benue State? Share with us, please.
The industrial hub of any country or state is in the bedrock of their developmental rise and continuous growth. When the industrial sector is vibrant, there is a lot of productivity, employment, and creativity. However, in recent times, the economic challenges in the country has made most of these industries to produce below their installed capacities due to rising overhead costs. Some have even gone moribund due to lack of patronage and lack of raw materials to feed these industries.
Some of the industries were in operation, and then for reasons of maybe good management and then the economic factors that came about, they were not operating at full capacity, and then they were not breaking even.
Okay.
So as a result of that, naturally some of them had to be shut down.
In Benue State, some of these industries, like the Torako oil mills, the Benue bent bricks, have gone moribund due to poor management among other factors.
The people take the government attitude into management, and sometimes they involve politics into it. They will sometimes appoint somebody who may not be necessarily very capable of handling the operations of the company, and because of political reasons, they will appoint him. And a good number of it go mismanagement, mismanaging our resources.
As a way out, the government is looking for how to revive these industries by commercializing them and letting the private sector to be involved in running them.
Recently, the state government had to constitute the Privatization and Commercialization Council, and that will drive a process whereby this council will look at where the government will partner or work with private investors, and then to see how these companies will be better managed.
Indeed, a good number of them have been out of operation for a very long time. And if it's left to the government alone, they will never come back to operation. And taking cognizance of the low income into a government post these days, where will they have the money? But now if they partner with the private sector, some people will come in and then put in good money. But what I'm advising the government is they shouldn't do the way other industries will privatize in this country. They must look for credible partners.
Benue State is blessed with a lot of human resources and capacities, but there must be the willpower from government to make use of this abundant talent to creating an industrial reawakening.
I like that last phrase. I would say it's a catchphrase, an industrial awakening. It's time for a wake-up call. In fact, I was discussing this so analytically. It tells us that something must wake up so we can change the status quo. We're talking with Ekerete Olagam Ikom. He's the CEO of FinTrade Project.
Thank you very much.
Good. I like our conversation. I'm learning a lot, and I'm sure so are Nigerians.
Okay.
What next? The way forward.
Okay, so
can we get it right?
Yeah, we can get it right. And the way forward, in my own view, is to focus on the small and medium enterprises in Nigeria. You know, the entrepreneurship spirit in Nigeria is so high. It's there. You know, and people say we consume. Yes, we consume, but we can also produce. And in this last 3-4 years, we have seen a lot of people go into agriculture and producing. All right, so we are producing. We're not even talking about processing yet, which we can still do if the environment is right. Let me tell you one of the things that is the problem, which we all know: power, electricity. And so the renewable energy sector has successfully, brought itself to be accepted as an alternative source of power for small businesses. And government is investing in that area through World Bank funding and all of that, which is interesting. And so we need to focus more on that area, on those areas. It's good to have large industries, but if we're talking about consuming the ones that we will get, it's good to invest in the small and medium enterprises.
Okay, hold that thought. Good one. We're in the process. This wake-up call is awakening nationwide, and we're going to Maiduguri in Borno State. We know that there have been challenges that borders on insecurity. In spite of that, how have these travels impacted them? How are they regenerating and rejuvenating for the path to progress and prosperity? Let's see this.
A strong economy of a nation serves as a nation builder and development. As such, functional industries serves as one of the major nation builder. But in the case of Borno State, for several years, most of the industries are grounded due to insurgency and other factors. But with the coming of the present administration of Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, things have changed for the better.
The sector of plastic industry, that is Borno plastic industry, Boplas, we have nettle shoe and tannery factory where we produce hide and skins. We tan it, make it to wet blue or crust, then we export it to Spain, Italy, and so on. So we have a cassava processing factory. We have about 15 industries. Those industries who are dormant, so we reactivate it. Now they are on good condition now. They have started production.
The enamel ware and nail factory is also one other factory that was established in Borno State. It has been up and coming, but the government has already taken measures to revive it and bring it back to its normalcy. That work is done through the Borno Investment Company, and I'm sure what they are waiting is the bad components.
The Borno State Fertilizer Company was established in 1999. Due to the insurgency, the industry has not worked for more than 10 years. But with the coming of His Excellency Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, today the Borno State Fertilizer Company was rehabilitated by His Excellency.
In order to boost job creation, revenue generation, and utilization of raw materials in the state, the government is leaving no stone unturned by ensuring all industries in the state are back to work.
Borno State government really support us when we start our repairs and also towards our production. He support us and then providing us with raw materials.
To achieve a maximum result in the efforts to revive industries in Nigeria, we all have a part to play for the betterment of our dear country, Nigeria.
Thank you, NTA Maiduguri. In spite of, despite of, you guys continue to make us very proud. We thank you.
Thank you.
Ekerete Ola Gam Ikom. I've not heard that, your name itself tells us that something different will emanate from our chat. Thank you.
Thank you so
the
much.
CEO of FinTrade Projects. It's been nice chatting with you. Nigerians have heard and listened, and from the comments that we have, we know that they want to talk to you further. They want to learn more. You're watching Weekend Deal. Moribund Industries has been our focal point. We'll take a break. We continue when we return. Please don't go away. Weekend Deal. You're watching Weekend Deal. Fatima went out to different markets in the FCT to do a survey. What's happening with purchase, cost? She reveals all.
It is that time of the year again, filled with beehive of activities leading to the Eid al-Kabir celebrations. The celebration that is marked with slaughter of animals, and Muslim faithfuls are in high spirits to enjoy the Eid with the joy that comes with it. The remarkable thing about the festival is the ram. And for a typical Muslim, joy of the day is the ability to afford a ram to fulfill the awesome obligation. But the prices of rams this year seem beyond the reach of the average man on the street owing to inflation.
People are coming to buy, but the problem is that because of no salary, because of this month, the seller of this year is the middle of this month, no salary. The ram that we are selling like 50,000, this year is cost 70 to 80,000 naira. Kidnapping something. Many of our villagers people now, they rear the animals because all these kidnappers, they don't pack their animals. That's why the thing costs now.
But this one now, we'll get it 100. Before past 2 weeks now, this one is 150. But people know that you don't have money to go and buy it now. This one is 100. This one will have it 50,000.
Just want to buy some. A friend of mine asked me to come and inquire the prices, and that's all. Like the last time they bought, someone told me they bought, it was 90,000, 80,000. So this time around, I asked them the prices. They said they have two parts. The first part, 150. That of the second part is 120,000. So it's quite expensive for me.
And the first time in Nigeria, price is okay. I can accept it. But I also want a discount. Other place for buying RAM in Nigeria, but the price is lower here than here, you know. So my colleague there is asking for a discount, like 120 for that big one.
Told him 160.
Yeah, they're telling me 160, right? Yeah. 1600, but I want the price should be 120.
Sellers and buyers attributed this to high price of goods and services, including transportation of these livestock, and the insecurity situation experienced in some parts of the country where the livestock are reared.
It's not affordable at all. It's not affordable. And besides that, no matter how much you bring here, the expenses of these rams will not make you want to buy at any price, because it's so expensive that if they call money for you, you'll be thinking maybe you don't have enough money to buy any ram, but that's just the way the market is.
Came here just to pick a ram to my boss. He's a Muslim man, so I have to pay him a homage. It's too exorbitant. I don't know where to. The one I bought last year at the rate of 120 is now 250. So and the reasons they are giving insecurity. So before, how they shelter it and now are not the same. If there's enough security, people can go to farm. The drivers can have a free place to do it. Even the grasses, they say that the grass is costly now.
So, 70,000. Would they give somebody promo? Like that one, 60, 45 day, 50 day. Anyone what you want. I'll get big one, 150.
It's on 120. And my last time, they would have said this on 140, 150. Now, no, market. See now. How you see the place now? How many people you see inside to buy? Last year, I would have said this type, 150, 160. Now, like this one is 120. We get even 30,000 we have right here. Like this one now is 30.
People who intend to slaughter rams this year have to buy according to the size of their pockets or go for smaller ones. Instead of buying the usual numbers, you can reduce the number of rams you buy and still have a beautiful celebration. It is not about the numbers or the highest price, but the sacrifice if you can afford to. Have a safe and peaceful Eid al-Kabir.
Thank you, Fatima. It was just like we were right there at the different markets she dropped at, and we got the information live. It's not about the amount you buy, it's about the sacrifice. One last message before we take off. The industries have all gone and may not return, except we bring forth political will, policy discipline, honest behavior, patriotism by all Nigerians, and infrastructural development that will be sustained. All of this have brought us to the point where we are now. Caribbean Bob Manuel, thank you very much. You know that it's not the size of the man and the fight, but the size of the fight and the man. Nigeria, great patriots. Together, we can continue to build our great country and put us strongly on the path of progress and prosperity. God bless Nigeria. Thank you. Have a great week.